sun rises with the holy light, guided by words so pure and right. The Torah speaks and my soul's alive. Thank Yahweh for the gift that makes us thrive. Oh, thank Yahweh for the Torah today, for the path it clears and the debt it pays. Through repentance my heart finds its way. Oh Yahweh, your love will never sway. The laws were written in fire and the stone, a beacon of truth when I'm alone. Through every trial and every test, the Torah's wisdom brings me rest. Oh, thank Yahweh for the Torah today, for the path it clears and the debt it pays. Through repentance my heart finds its way. Oh Yahweh, your love will never sway. When I stumble, when I fall, your mercy answers my every call. With repentance my soul is free. Yahweh's love is eternity. Its Torah lights a lamp for my feet, through the shadows and the heat. In every word there's a sacred sound, Yahweh's grace in the truth I've found. Oh, thank Yahweh for the Torah today, for the path it clears and the debt it pays. Through repentance my heart finds its way. Oh Yahweh, your love will never sway. Oh Yahweh, your love will never sway. When I stumble, when love will never sway.
Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Man, I hope everybody is having a blessed day. You know, the title of today's message is Conflicted Instead of Agreeable. Man, and I'm going to be taking a deep dive into, why so many people that claim to have faith, that claim to believe in God as worldly people would say it, have so much conflict and disagreement with the word of the Most High Yah. And we're going to talk about that in a wide range of things and make sure you gain, understanding on how to deal with your own conflict of the word and disagreeableness when it comes to the instructions of the Most High Yah, and our obedience, because that's most important. It's going to come down to our ability to work out our salvation. And if we are conflicted instead of agreeable with the word, what are we working out according to the will of the Most High Yah? Man, welcome to all. I'm glad that you are able to, tune in to be here for this message. Shabbat Shalom. Doesn't matter where you're coming from, what religion or denomination or whatsoever you came out of. Today you're going to get 100% book, and you're going to get a lot of it to sharpen your comprehension and to edify you. Okay, how to support the ministry. Hit that like button, man. Hitting that like button, especially with truth-filled messages and teachings, help this video get out to those that need to hear it. And ultimately, the Most High Yah will make sure the right people see this message. Subscribe to the channel. Okay, if you Subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on, and set to all notifications. Share this video. Okay, agenda. In today's Shabbat message, I will be discussing how when we are living in sin, following the flesh, oftentimes we are conflicted with the word rather than agreeable to it. This is why people insert their opinions, feelings, philosophies, and emotions into the text rather than submitting and obey it. Think about the popular religion of Christianity and how there are currently over 45,000 denominations globally and over 200 denominations in the United States, according to the Center for Study Global of Christianity. How can people be so divided when we only have one book? I want you to think about that. How is there so many different, different flavors, Baskin Robbins of flavors? Why are people going so many different directions if we were only given one truth? If we was only given one book, one set of instructions. How can this be? And this is why, this message, of being conflicted rather than agreeable is so important. Okay, why are we here today? Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy Yahuwah. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heaven and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. I want you to think about this right here. One of the first questions people have when they start obeying the commandments and they realize the Sabbath is one of them, one of their first questions that will lead to either agreeableness or being disagreeable, which majority of the world is it going to end up being disagreeable to this, is what can I not do on the Shabbat? What can I do and what can't I do? And what causes the disagreeableness is if people's heart is not truly set on fulfilling and keeping the will of the Most High Yah, that's when the conflict and the disagreement comes in. Well, I've got this volleyball game to go to. Well, I've got this basketball game to. Well, I've got this tennis match to go to. Well, I got to go to Foot Locker because they got a sale today. It's a one day, That's where that disagreement comes in. That's where that conflict. And it's not a problem with the word. It's an internal problem in your heart. Okay, Exodus 31, verse 13. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahuwah Elohim that doeth sanctify you. You got some people are, no matter how many times we read in the first 5 books of the Bible, these commandments, these laws, statutes was given unto Israel. Hamashiach himself said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You got some people so conflicted with the word, they want nothing to do with Israel because they're so, pretty much submitted to the damnable doctrine of replacement theology. And replacement theology, they're saying that the church has replaced Israel. So wherever they see Israel, they're going to insert the word Christian or they're going to say church. People are so conflicted. And this is why I'm an advocate for proper study and etymology. You look behind some of these insertions of the belief that people have and you don't find none of this stuff. Luke chapter 4, verse 14 through 16. And Yahshua returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and there went out a fame of him throughout all the region round about. And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read. I almost put together a clip of some foolishness of teachings that are out there that are contrary to the Bible. And People will tell you, it's folk out there telling you that Messiah wanted us to keep the Lord's Day, wanted us to keep Resurrection Day, but we see that his custom was keeping the 7-day Sabbath, as well as the disciples, the prophets, the Most High Yah. This is the disagreeable, and this is the conflict. You got some people that they're so conflicted, but want to seem religious, want to seem righteous. They ain't following nothing in the book. Very little. Conflicted and offended. Conflict. Noun, a serious disagreement or argument. You know, when this book is telling you to do something, it says be a doer of the word. It didn't say be a doer of your feelings. It didn't say be a doer of your emotions. It said be a doer of the word. But when you have conflict, you got a serious disagreement. Man, how can you, if you are conflicted with the word of the Most High, man, how are you going to be in a state of submission to the word if every time when it's time for this instruction to tell you to do something that you should be striving to live after, striving for that perfection, like Hamashiach, how are you going to do that if you're so in disagreement? Or you got every argument about why you don't have to do what's in the book. Verb, be incompatible or at variance, to clash. Man, your flesh is going to clash with this word. It's going to clash. Your flesh is at war with the Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, conflicted, adjective, having or showing confused and mutually inconsistent feelings. You all over the place. That's why you can't follow your feelings, your emotions. But we are commanded to follow this word, these instructions, these precepts, these ordinances, these laws, these statutes. Offended, adjective, resentful or annoyed, typically as a result of a perceived insult. I tell you, man, that one thing that people hate in this daytime and hour is the flat out truth. Long as we talking feelings and emotions and opinions, everybody good. But the minute that truth of the Most High Yah enter the room, people get offended. And it's not because they have a justification to be offended. It's a perceived insult. How dare you tell me the truth? How dare you tell me what the Bible actually says? And my church didn't read it from front to back 3-4 times over the last 5 years. So let's get there. Matthew chapter 13, verse 54 through 58. And when he was coming to his own country, he taught them in their synagogues so much that they were astonished and said, whence has this man this wisdom and these mighty works? Is this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother's called Miriam, and his brethren Yaakov and Yosef and Simon and Yahuda? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then has this man all these things? And they were offended in him. But Yahushua said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, save in his own country and in his own house. And he did not many mighty works there because of their unbelief. They got offended in the truth that Hamashiach was coming in. And that's how the world is going to see this thing. That's how they're going to see it. Okay, let's go to Romans chapter 11, verse 22. Behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of Elohim, of them which fail severely, but towards you goodness if you continue in his goodness, otherwise you shall be cut off. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. So you can go on and read. Let's keep going. 23, and they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, they shall be grafted in. So when we look at this, if you continue in unbelief, if you continue to be offended, to be conflicted with this word, man, you're going to be cut off. What value or what fruit do you stand to bear for the kingdom of the Most High Yah if you're conflicted with everything that he tells you to do? And this is when you in this daytime and hour, man, we have this pandemic of people that's on a spiritual journey, but their spiritual journey ain't got no truth. Everybody's I'm telling you, you will hear people, man, I'm on my healing journey and I'm on a spiritual journey, and they give the appearance that they on a spiritual journey, but this book talks about a lot of different spirits. But there's only one Ruach of truth. There's only one Ruach HaKodesh, one Holy Spirit that we're supposed to be, led by. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 1, verse 5 through 7. Isaiah 1, 5 through 7. Why should you be stricken or struck down anymore? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick and the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with anointment. Your country is desolate and your cities are burned with fire. Your land strangers devour it in your presence, and it is desolate, overthrown by strangers. So it's letting us know, man, how sick our way of thinking, our heart and what flows from it in its natural state is. It's letting us know. And this is this is the source of your conflict and your offense to the word of the Most High. Luke chapter 7, verse 23. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Hamashiach gave you, while being, filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, he gave you a perfect example that we are instructed to follow. That's your prosperity. That's your blessings. How are you going to be blessed if you offended every time this word tells you to do something? And this is why people cherry pick out of the book and give lukewarm messages, ear-tickling messages, cherry picking out of stuff that generally doesn't have to do with obedience. If there's this is the religion of the world, oftentimes will give you, okay, if there's not an instruction there, they're going to cherry pick out of that for motivational message purposes and keep you living in transgression. Because if you're not teaching the instructions, you're not teaching the Torah, how are you teaching the people to walk upright? And this is why so many people, are conflicted and offended with the word. Okay, conflict, types of conflict, interpersonal conflict. Disagreements or arguments between individuals. I mean, you can be disagreeable with whoever you want. But when you at that judgment seat of a Mashiach, you will see who's got the truth. You're going to see who's got the truth. Intergroup conflict, disagreements or clashes between different groups. That's why I said, man, out of all 45,000 so-called denominations across the globe, 200 in this country. So that's intergroup conflict. You got some groups that don't believe in the baptism. You got some groups, think that the rapture's in the book, that the Trinity's in the book. This is where this conflict and this disagreement comes from. Intrapersonal conflict, internal struggles or disagreements within a single individual. And this is really what you need to deal with in order to work out your salvation. Why is your flesh rebelling against the word? Why is your flesh at conflict with when this word tells you to do something? See, this is why the book says, man, these people honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. That's because you got an interpersonal conflict. This book is telling you to obey, to submit, to keep the commandments and instructions, but yet you that part of the book you disagree with. You know what people don't have a problem with being conflicted with? Being blessed. You let people tell it, man, they're supposed to be blessed. They're entitled to blessings, but conflicted towards obeying the word. And it's nothing but lip service. Conflict of interest, situations where individuals' personal interests might conflict with their professional duties or responsibilities. Organizational conflict, disagreements or struggles between different parts of an organization. I want you to think about this. Cultural conflict, clashes between different cultural values and beliefs. See, one thing is people don't realize that during the canonization of the Bible, this thing was translated to reflect that of a Indo-European language and Roman Greco culture. They pretty much wiped the Hebraic origins from the book, from the names, from the words used, from the way we read this thing. So you have Westerners that are trying to take an Eastern agricultural book and trying to make it fit Western culture, and the two are polar opposite. So there's a cultural conflict. This book tells you to build ye houses and plant ye gardens. How many Westerners you know actually trying to build with their own hands, build them a house or to build something to get out and sow seed in that ground? No, the Western way is, let me get a mortgage, let me pay somebody, and they're going to come out and build it. And then I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy this food instead of growing and raising my own food. There's a cultural conflict. Agreeableness, agree, verb, to have the same opinion about something, to concur, to consent to do something that has been, suggested by another person. Agreeable, adjective, enjoyable and pleasurable and pleasant. 2, willing to agree with something. Agreeableness, noun, describes the personality trait characterized kindness, cooperation, and to prioritize the will of others. Man, the Most High Yah wants us in agreement. When we come across an instruction, a precept, a law, a statute, he wants us to be agreeable. For one, here's one in this day, time, and hour in this Roman Greco culture that people are disagreeable with. People, flamboyant people, flaming people agree with the word of Yah until it gets to, okay, if you lay down with a man laying down with another man and a woman laying down with another woman is an abomination. Conflict. Right then and there. It comes up like a wall in your heart. He wants us to be agreeable with every aspect of this. Okay? Pro-social behavior. Agreeable individuals are more likely to engage in behaviors that benefit others. Okay? So when you think about as ambassadors of righteousness, as ambassadors of the Most High Yah, in the example we have in a Mashiach, man, we're called to servitude. We are called to servitude. And that is the service of others. You think about the Levites. They didn't have no problem with being agreeable. There was no, we want to try to be millionaires. We want to invest in real estate. But this is all the stuff that gets in the way of us fulfilling the service. It says such as helping, sharing, and being supportive. Okay, social harmony. Agreeable individuals tend to prioritize relationships, and seek to maintain social harmony, often avoiding conflict and seeking cooperation. Let's go to this. Let's go to what the word says. Because this is why a lot of people struggle in relationships. In Western culture, you prioritize everything else. Work, money, and prioritizing a relationship is how you're going to be agreeable. Ecclesiasticus 26:1. 1-3. Blessed is the man that has a virtuous woman, for the number of his days shall be doubled. A virtuous woman rejoices her man, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. A good woman is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear Yahuwah. So message, if you're a man that don't fear the Most High, guess what? Your portion is not going to be a Yah-fearing virtuous woman. Why? Because she is rare. Trust and trustworthiness. They tend to trust others and are seen as trustworthy themselves, building strong relationships through reliability and honesty. Let's go to Proverbs 31, verse 10-11. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her man safely trusted her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. This is plain and simple. This is being agreeable, social harmony, behaviors of agreeableness. You're trustworthy, okay? Cooperation. They are more likely to cooperate with others, valuing teamwork and working effectively with others toward a shared goal. Come on. The goal of a man and a woman, is to have a strong, righteous family unit that knows how to walk in truth, is following the example. The Most High Yah he said the man needs a helpmeet, not a headache. The man needs a helpmeet, agreeableness. How you going to help a man meet his mission of fearing the Most High Yah, keeping the commandments, if you ain't agreeable? Cooperative with others. 1 Peter, let's get there. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 through 2. Likewise, you women be in subjection to your own men, that if any obey not the word, so even if you got a husband that don't obey the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of their women. So, man, it should be your conversation and your conduct that can help pull him to truth. Aspects of disagreeable. Disagreeable, adjective, not pleasant or enjoyable, unfriendly, and bad-tempered. People, I'm telling you, people, when you can flat out say what's in this book, what we're supposed to be doing, and a wicked spirit will manifest in people. And what's happening is they're only mad at you because what's in their heart is conflict and disagreement. Similar words: unpleasant, displeasing, nasty, horrible, dreadful, abominable, abominable. We're just talking about that. Offensive, repugnant, disgusting, foul, vile, detestable. Those are some of the words: foul, vile, detestable, abominable, unsavory, in your mouth, you can, unpalatable. You can't stomach it. And this is how the Most High Yah sees us when we're in disagreement with his word, when we're conflicted with his word. Let's go to Proverbs 21:9. Man, it is better to dwell in a corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. She ain't in there brawling to give you hugs. She's brawling to be uncooperative, to be disagreeable, to cause conflict. Let's go Proverbs 27, verse 15. A continual dropping in a very rainy day and continuous woman are alike. There ain't going to be no agreeableness in this house. Ecclesiasticus 25:16. I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep a house with a wicked woman. The wickedness of a woman changes her face and darkens her countenance like sackcloth. Her man shall sit among his neighbors, and when he hears it shall sigh bitterly. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. As the climbing up of a sandy ways to the feet of the aged, so is a woman full of words to a quiet man. Here's the instruction right here. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. Aspects of being disagreeable. Character traits of disagreeable. Selfish. Aggressive. Man, when people don't want to keep the Sabbath, you're going to find out that what they want to do, instead of keeping and hearkening to what the word says, what they want to do becomes more important than the will of the Most High. So they're demonstrating selfishness, aggressiveness. You can, this word, if people got rebellion and disagreement with it in their heart, they'll become aggressive. Deceitful, combative, manipulative, unruly. Okay? A person that has these aspects of disagreeableness will attempt to gain power while having no actual authority to do so. Obedience. Let's get there. Because this is important. You can't be at conflict, disagreeable, and be obedient. Them three don't go hand in hand. 1 Samuel 15:22. And Shemuel said, has Yahweh as great delight in ascending smoke offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion, okay, is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of Yahweh, he has also rejected you from being king. Think about this. This is simple. People are stubborn towards the word. Well, I just can't, I just don't believe that that's what the Bible said. You can show them in their own book. Doesn't change the fact that there's rebellion, stubbornness, in their heart. People will hit you with, to get out of obeying the word. Well, I didn't sacrifice 15 years on this job, and I just can't keep it. Most High Yah, that's what he's telling you. Your obedience is better than the things that you want to sacrifice. Let's go to Leviticus. Leviticus 26:2-3. You shall guard my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahuwah. If you walk in my statutes and guard my commandments and do them, then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their increase. So when you think about that, he's letting us know all throughout this book about obedience. And the reason people gravitate to these Baskin-Robbins flavor religions is so they can be told a different message other than obedience. Let's go to John 14:15. And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that I will do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If you love me, guard my commandments. That's if you love him. The reality is, a lot of these people have lying lips and don't love him. They are led by teachers, prophets, false prophets, apostles, bishops, doctors, pastors, all kind of titles. But if the people teaching you don't keep the commandments, how are they going to teach you to do it? John 14:21. He that has my commandments and guards them, he it is that loves me. So he's giving you, okay, I'm going to say it to you one way, and then I'm going to flip it and reverse it. He that has my commandments and guards them, he it is that loves me, and that loves me shall be loved by my Father, and I will love him and will manifest myself to him. So you're gonna really get to know Hamashiach. John 15:10. If you guard my commandments, you shall abide in my love, even as I have guarded my Father's commandments and abided in his love. So Hamashiach is letting you know, I showed my love for the Most High Yah by obeying his commandments. And you were supposed to do the same thing. 1 John chapter 5, verse 2-3. By this we know that we love the children of Elohim, when we love Elohim and guard his commandments. For this is the love of Elohim, that we guard his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. This is where people have the problem. He's letting us know people have a grievance towards the commandments. This is why they make up their own stuff. This is why they make up a Wednesday night. This is why they make up a Sunday morning, Sunday night. This is why they make Easter, because they really don't want to keep the biblical feast for 7 days, the Passover Feast of Unleavened Bread. They want to be out there planting them Easter eggs. Keeping the commandments should not be grievous. Conflict, disagreeable. 1 Corinthians, let me get there. 1 Corinthians 7:19. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of Elohim. So you can do all this stuff to the flesh, circumcised, uncircumcised, but you don't keep the commandments. What good is it? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5. And you shall love Yahuwah Elohake with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. The problem is people don't love him. And people really show their amount of love for him by their disobedience of the commandments. You do the one that really ain't going to cause you no change, ain't going to really cause you to turn from your ways, but will allow you to look like you doing a whole lot. And you put on for your city with that very little bit that you do. Supposed to love him with all your heart. That means he should be the first priority. None of this other stuff should be the priority. Our love for Yahweh, Elohake, should be the first priority from the moment we wake up. When our boss at work asks us to do something that may be unright, oh, no, I can't even do that. We oftentimes don't think about this. Exodus chapter 20, verse 6. Says, and showing mercy unto the thousands of them that love me and guard my commandments. Showing mercy. You don't guard his commandments, he ain't showing no mercy to you. You got a problem with his word, you conflicted, disagreeable. He don't care. That's not his problem. That's an interpersonal problem. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and to guard his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Man, my duty is to live my best life. My duty is to, hang out with my boys and have a good time. Go on this girls trip. My duty is, to be have the best career. My duty is all this stuff people will insert in over and give justification for why they can't obey the word of the Most High. There's no conflict. You love this stuff. Like if you cannot keep, like on this day, if you can't keep the Sabbath because of what you got going on, you love that stuff that you got going on more than the Most High Yah. And there is the root of your disobedience. There's the root of it. Well, Bath and Body Works got to sell. Man, they selling suits down at the mall 2 for $1. This is the stuff that's going to keep you from the kingdom, these violations. And then once we start looking, oftentimes people that are conflicted and disagreeable with the word, they're not just conflicted in one area. The list goes on. And you may be witnessing just something first and foremost that is just a peephole into a bigger issue. Confusion. Let's go to Job 10:15. If I be wicked, woe unto me. And if I be righteous, yet will I not lift up my head. I am full of confusion. Therefore you see my affliction. So you're going to be afflicted if you confused. In that passage, confusion, Strong's number, Hebrew word 7036, shame, disgrace, reproach, shame. Confusion, noun, dictionary, lack of understanding, uncertainty. People get they put the brakes on As long as they getting blessings and blessing is pouring out motivational messages, man, they 100 miles an hour. But the minute it comes to an instruction or it's time to do something, whoa, hit the brakes. Now all of a sudden you uncertain. You weren't uncertain about receiving these blessings. You weren't uncertain about the Most High Yah opening your eyes this morning, allowing air to flow through your lungs. You weren't uncertain about him blessing you to have a roof over your head. But all of a sudden, when it comes to these instructions, these commandments, we get some pushback. Well, I just can't forgive. They don't deserve forgiveness. What? You're gonna mess around and ensure you don't get to the kingdom. Most High Yah can forgive them, throw it in the sea of forgiveness, but you can't. I'm uncertain. If I got to do all that, I ain't with all that. Okay. Be my guest. Be my guest. Man, I'm in these last days, man. That book tell me to avoid such people. I'm not arguing with you. I'm flat out not arguing with you. The rebellion is already noted on record. Now, the state of being bewildered or unclear in one's mind about something. Bewildered, adjective, perplexed, and confused. Very puzzled. I'm telling you, man, you got people that are very esteemed in Greek, Hebrew, all of this stuff. Don't change the fact when these Hebraic and Greek words and English words on this paper tell you to do something, all of a sudden you get perplexed. Well, for real. You didn't went and got a doggone, you didn't read 8 years worth of college to get a doctorate. But all of a sudden these simple words on this paper got you perplexed and confused. Well, what did I don't really think that mean that. It's something deeper down that's causing you this perplexed, confusion, puzzle. Riddle me this. Is this a translation error? Does it say love money? Does it say keep son? Is it puzzle? 1 Corinthians 14:33. For Elohim is not the author of confusion. You got to ask yourself, who is? If he ain't the author of confusion, who is? But of peace, as in all the assemblies of the Kodashim, okay, of the saints. Let's go to 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy 2:7. Consider what I said, and Yahweh give you understanding in all things. So if you go into other places other than the Most High Yah to get your understanding, that's going to be the source of your confusion. People don't understand when you go to Bible college and seminary school, man, they're giving you philosophy. They're giving you replacement theology. They're giving you all these different charts because, using symbolism to show you stuff that ain't in the book, but they're reaching, giving you a lot of insertions, cherry picking some stuff out of the book, nesting it in with the lies, and this is how people are deceived. This is why so many people are confused out there. Most High Yah didn't say go to no 4-year institution to get your understanding. It tells us to seek him out. 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Beloved, believe not every ruach. Oh, snap. So there's more than one ruach out here. The book calls them familiar spirits. So I want you to understand, man, when you're in these 45,000 denominations of Christianity, you're getting a different ruach in every one of them. There's some confusion. There's some deceitfulness. There's some manipulation. There's some bewilderness. And a lot of these things are exposed when you ask certain questions that lead all of this unbelief to a dead end, and they have no way out. You start to realize, oh, the problem is rebellion. Beloved, believe not every ruach, but try the ruach. Try the spirit. Test the spirit. Whether they are of Elohim, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. These false prophets is not out here saying, well, we're going to fill you with a different spirit. No, you would be like, well, I don't want no different spirit. They're out here telling you that they're going to fill you, and they're moving in the Holy Spirit, but secretly they got a different spirit on them. Somebody can't tell you that they are led of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit that gives understanding, and they keeping Christmas. Woo! KO, that's a knockout. People can't tell you and justify that they are led of the Ruach and they got that Easter bunny around their church. Come on. I'm just keeping it real. You don't find this stuff in the book. Do you take this man to be your husband? Wait a minute. When biblically does a woman take a husband? But for that money, a preacher will get up there and say it. Confusion. Let's look at Hasatan's role, because this is very, very important. 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about, seeking whom he may devour. So if you confused or conflicted or disagreeable with any part of this word, Hasatan is going to use that to suck you into a damnable teaching. And you're going to commit yourself to these damnable teachings, these damnable leaders. And rather than walking in truth, you end up walking in lies, like many of us start off if we're raised in some of this religion. You didn't know no better. You didn't, as a child, you didn't choose your religion. You didn't choose the walk. You got told how to walk. You got told, get in there and help them put up that Christmas tree. Get in here and put these lights on it. Come together, we got to put the angel on the top. Get you a kiss under the mistletoe. You didn't choose this stuff. You was forcefully led into this, but now you're here hearing this message, man, you got a choice. Because when you see this stuff ain't in the book, but yet your flesh is like, man, I love that tree. You conflicted. Very conflicted. Man, you didn't have no choice as a child. You in there keeping Thanksgiving. And then you in there eating that what they call heavenly ham. Where do you read this stuff at? We gonna say a prayer over this heavenly ham. Everybody bow your head. Then you got some religious hypocrite in your family that want to pray over this ham. This, for real, deceived. This is Hasatan's role. Because you're conflicted, he gonna lead you away in some stuff. And these people lay it on thick. Our Father, hallowed be thy name. Thou art in heaven. Sanctify this ham. Make sure the glaze is, you be like, what? I tell you, man, I be around these folk now, I be like, no. People don't even understand why Daniel didn't eat. Table was filled with unclean stuff. Let's go to James. Four 7. Submit yourselves therefore to Elohim, resist the devil and he will flee from you. So in order to do this, we got to submit to his word and not submit to our feelings, our opinions, vain opinions oftentimes, emotions, leaning on our own understanding. The book say, do not lean on your own understanding. What time we want to lean on our own carnal understanding. And Hasatan is going to exploit this every time. 2 Corinthians 11:12 through 15. Wherefore, because I love you not, Elohim knows, but what I do, that I will do, that I may cut off the occasion from them which desires occasion, that wherewithin their glory they may be found even as we. For such are false apostles, okay? deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Mashiach. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. But he is the father of lawlessness. So if he wants you working in iniquity, this is how he has no light. But he will disguise himself. He will transform himself. And the way you will be attacked is because of your disagreement or rebellion to the word. Therefore is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. You can go to Revelations and read about their works. The book says, woe to the pastor that scatters the sheep of my flock. Nobody out there, other than those that keep the commandments and fear the Most High Yah, knows what that means. 1 John chapter 3, verse 4 through 10. Whosoever commits sin transgress also the Torah. For sin is the transgression of the Torah. You know, one of the biggest deceptions is how can you have so many pastors out there that say the law is done away with? The law is done away with. Something's wrong with the law. Something's wrong with it. The book says the law is perfect, reviving the soul. But yet, these boogers sit up here and tell you they're doing deliverance. They're casting out. What you casting out? Demonic. What are you delivering people from? If the very thing that tells you what sin is in your teachings is done away. How be? Make it make sense. And you know that he was manifested to take away your sins, and in him is no sin. He didn't violate the Torah. Whosoever abides in him sins not. So whoever follows in his example, it's not possible for you to sin. The problem is, when you rebel against the other parts of this word, when you rebel against the Torah is bad, you're going to live in sin. Be riddled with it. Whosoever abides in him sins not. Whosoever sins has not seen him, neither has known him. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that does righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. Let's keep going. He that commits sin is of the devil, for the devil sins from the beginning. For this purpose, the Son of Elohim was manifested that he might destroy the works of the devil. Whosoever is born of Elohim does not commit sin, for his seed remains in him, and he cannot sin because he is born of Elohim. In this, the children of Elohim are manifest, and the children of the devil. Whoso does not righteousness is not of Elohim, neither he that loves not his brother. So when you think about that, you know, man, when you are coming out, there's going to be a struggle. You're going to taste the fruit of the Ruach HaKodesh, and you're going to be striving to walk in it. But you have to think, man, your flesh, you know, knows the ins and out of you. Your flesh is at war with the spirit. Your flesh don't want you walking in the Ruach, being led of it. So there is this, you're walking in the spirit sometimes, but then you default back to the flesh. And the only way to overcome that, as you stay in this word and learn how to walk, you be agreeable rather than conflicted with these instructions, with these words. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11 through 12. Put on the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, and spiritual wickedness in high places. So I want you to understand, man, you have wicked people, wicked leaders, principalities that have power, but they're using that power to work and to teach wickedness. Just like Hasatan brought Messiah to the mountain and then told the Messiah that he would exalt them. Hasatan didn't have no power to exalt the Messiah. He was walking the Hasatan. Only thing he did was use manipulation to make or to try to attempt the Messiah and thinking that all this stuff was his. Who created it? The Most High. So, man, Hasatan will use manipulation tactics to try to doggone make it seem like, man, you actually moving up in this world, but you moving up in wickedness. It says the wickedness, spiritual wickedness in high places. This is why we must be in agreement rather than conflict or disagreeable with the word. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 through 4. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there comes a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the sons of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called, Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he, as Elohim, sits in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. So you're going to have people that's going to move as if they are the ones that's got this, they are the source of this divine power. Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Beware. Here, listen to this. So when you conflict it, okay, you have some people that will look at the way people walk. You know, I'll give you an example. Worldly people look at set apart people and say, ain't no way in the world I could live like that. That looks like oppression. The women look like they're enslaved. The men look like they're just unhappy. That don't look like we would be happy. And this is how the worldly people look at the set apart people. And because of that way of thinking that you have, this is where Hasatan will, slip in a different message. And then you will fall for it. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Okay, let me give an example. Man, if you are a very vain man, you're not going to potentially like those men that are set apart, standing and walking in truth. So what does that mean? Man, you'll fall for the teachings of a vain apostle, prophet, preacher, pastor, bishop. And they're going to give you a different message that's appeasing to your belief, that stems from the wickedness of your flesh. You know, if you are a woman and you're looking at set apart women and you say, I don't see how they could be modest and so submissive and all of that. What does that mean? You're gonna be like a lot of these women going to find somebody to tickle your ears to get a lukewarm message, and they're gonna have you doing stuff that's unbiblical rather than obeying the word because you're conflicted and in disagreement with the peculiarness of Yah set apart. And that's why only a remnant will be saved. Colossians 2:8, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy. You go into these seminary schools about philosophy. Talked about it last week. Hermeneutics. They're giving you philosophy. This stuff is idolatry. You don't need no hermeneutics if you got the Ruach HaKodesh. In vain deceit, worthless, after the tradition of men. Where do these worldly holidays come from that aren't feast days? They're the traditions of men. Mother's Day, Father's Day. The traditions of men. The book says, man, you got people that reject the commandments in order to keep their own tradition. After the rudiments of the world. After the elemental spirits of this world. Not the spirit of truth. Not the spirit that gives understanding, but after all these other spirits. And not after Mashiach. For in him dwells the fullness of Elohim bodily. It's how you have people getting sucked into this stuff. And this is Hasatan's role. Strong delusion. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 4, verse 1 through 4. Therefore, seeing we have this ministry, as we have received mercy, we faint not. But we have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty. So, there's a problem. You got folks still holding on to lies, holding on to things that they know are not truthful, things that are manipulative. Therefore, seeing we have this ministry, as we have received mercy, we faint not, but have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty. See, these things of dishonesty is often hidden. Nobody's going to lead and say, yeah, this is the way that I'm being dishonest and I'm going to keep walking in. No, they hide it. Not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of Elohim deceitfully. Every one of these boogers that tells you Trinity is in the book, Rapture's in the book, Christmas is in the book, Easter's in the book, birthdays is in the book, Halloween is in the book. You ain't got to submit to your husband is in the book. You can worship money is in the book. You ain't got to keep this commandment is in the book. Strong delusion. Strong delusion. But you know what? People love it. People love a good, strong delusion, especially if it's already drawn a crowd. Nor handling the word of Elohim deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth. How you gonna get the truth apart from the Torah? When you look at that word truth and look behind the etymology, you get Torah. But by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of Elohim. But if our besor be hidden, it is hidden to them that are lost. Okay, so you got to understand. When somebody's operating in a strong delusion, they're going to be sitting up here thinking they have comprehension of the Gospels, of the Besor. Well, today we're going to be teaching out of the Gospels. But they're teaching you on a day that ain't commanded. They're teaching you to do stuff that clearly ain't in that Besor. Man, I still had this open challenge and nobody, and I know for a fact you're not going to get one of these delusional, vainly religious teachers to ever come forth and be willing to debate the fact that there is no commandment, instruction, precept, or ordinance to celebrate the birth of Messiah. History will tell you they adopted that from the pagans. But guess what? It don't stop them from fooling you on Sunday Sun worship, bringing that collection round play. Let's get an offering and together for a Christmas gift for the First Lady and the prophetess and Sister Pastor Dr. Shalonda. They still gonna rob you blind because they know these are the people that are ensuring you're delusional. It's bad. In whom the El of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious Besor of Mashiach, who is the image of Elohim, should shine unto them. So you got people, just because you're reading the words spiritually, you ain't gonna have no comprehension of them. You're gonna be blind to it. And just because you pick up the book, you got some people that pick this book up to be in 100% disagreement with it. Here's another one. You got so many people out here will pick up this book and will tell you what's in it, what you should be doing, but in their own life, they don't even bear the fruit of it. In their own life, they don't even obey it. You go look at some of these Sabbath or Sunday videos. You got a lot of Christians that will sit up and tell you, see, the book says is actually, the seventh day. But guess what they still doing? Keeping first day. Strong delusion. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13, verse 10 through 17. And if the Talmudim came and said unto him, why speak you unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever has, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance, but whosoever has not, from him shall be taken away, even that he has. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because they seeing, see not. You got eyesight, but you can't see. And hearing, you hear good, but you hear not the things of righteousness nor understand. Neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Joshua, which says, by hearing you shall hear and shall not understand, and seeing you shall see and not perceive. For this people's heart has waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should turn back, and I should heal them. This talking about hearing and seeing with your heart. With your heart. Because if you're conflicted in your heart, okay, I can sit up and say something in true 100% of the book, but if you're conflicted and disagreeable in your heart, you might be sitting up there saying yes, but your flesh is in disagreement with it, and you're not going to incorporate the instruction into your walk. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7 through 12. For the mystery of iniquity does already work. Only he who has now will let until he has taken out of the way. And then shall the lawless one be revealed, from whom Yahuwah shall consume with the ruach of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the workings of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause Elohim shall send them a strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. So it's nobody else other than Elohim sending you this strong delusion due to what's in your heart. You've rejected his Torah. You've rejected his commandments. You've rejected his precepts, his statutes. You've rejected it. So he's going to turn his face to you. Let's go to James chapter 4, verse 4. Ye men and women, you adulterous people, ye men and women who break wedlock, know you not that friendship of the world is enmity with Elohim? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of this world is an enemy of Elohim. You see people gravitating towards the world, you better go the other way. Better go the other way, especially when it's in violation of what this book is telling you to do, and you see people running to the ways of the world to do it. Man, this is when you want to be in the in crowd with the world, man, you're going to have a lot of conflict, a lot of disagreement with the way of the world. You want to take the word and writings and teaching of people that don't keep the commandments, and just because they got a title, you're going to be, well, my pastor said, and my grandma said, and my grandfather said, and my daddy said, and my best friend in this religious group that I'm in said. And this book is telling you something completely opposite, but you rather default with what the world is saying. Man, that disagreement and conflict in your heart is going to make you an enemy to Elohim. Man, he wants you, in working out your salvation, demonstrating your obedience. How are you going to do that if you're conflicted? How are you going to do that if you disagree with his words and he is the creator and you are the creation? Romans 12, 1 through 2. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice. See, back in the Old Testament, they really weren't walking in truth. They was just sacrificing animals because there was no blood shed on their behalf. But now you have to deal with this persecution. Hatred of the world because you're walking in truth. Present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy. Okay? Be holy as I am holy. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. And acceptable unto Elohim, which is your reasonable service. Being acceptable to Elohim is your servitude, is your duty description. It's not about being acceptable to other men. It's not about being acceptable to other women. It's not about being acceptable in the eyes of your mama and daddy. We see that because Mashiach had to separate from his fleshly mother and father. Who is my mother? Who is my father? Who is my sister? Who is my brother? Except they that obey the will of the Most High. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Man, this right here, the world is going to conform to violating the Torah. These Romans, these Greeks, where you think, pornography, orgies, all of this sexual immorality. You look at Egypt, it tells you to follow not the way of the heathens, tells you not to follow the way of the Egyptians. Don't do as they do. You learn all of this stuff. The Israelites were walking in the ways of all of these lawless people. Thus the Most High Yah called Moshe to the top of Mount Sinai to give him the Torah, and Moshe delivered it to the people. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. How is the Most High Yah? Imagine the Most High Yah trying to erase stuff in your mind or to rewrite stuff in your mind, but you're trying to save these wicked files instead of allowing them to be rewritten or deleted. Okay, let me ask you something. You know your computer is not operating. The reason I use these analogies and things like this, these examples, is because I work in communication. So your computer is saying hard drive full, that it's bound to crash out. It's already crashing out. But I've had to tell people, hey, man, I'm gonna have to re-image your hard drive. I'm gonna have to rewrite and reinstall this software. But because of the works you've already got on that computer, oh no, ain't no other way around. No, he can't rewrite on it. You're conflicted with the process. You're conflicted with the programming. Man, Yahweh Elohim want to reprogram you. But you're in disagreement with it. Conflicted with it. Man, it is hard to be around people that tell you that they love him, and when you're walking in truth, man, you see their rebellion towards him. Open rebellion. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed. There's a transformation process, that has to undergo. And oftentimes, man, when you're born again, or when you are about to enter born again, a lot of people aren't born again because they reject the new operating system. You got an operating system that's failing you. You can't even make it through a day without battling all this different type of worrying, depression, anxiety. You can't control your tongue. That operating system, that way of thinking is failing you. And he's saying, man, I want to wipe that clean. And this is the rebirth of an operating system that's pure. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. The law is the truth, reviving the soul. We're going to revive. Let's revive your system. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good. So unless you deal with this conflict, disagreeableness, you're not going to understand what's good. You got people out there that claim to believe the Most High Yah, and they think Halloween is good. They think idolatry is good. They're not born again. Their minds haven't been renewed. You're holding on to your carnal way of thinking, which is going to prohibit you from walking in truth. To be able to discern, that ain't good. You got men out there. You got men that call themselves Christian that, think sex is good outside of marriage. But they're thinking about it in the pleasure of them fornicating and being sexually immoral. Well, I got needs. Women too. How am I supposed to get this cat scratched? And then their thinking will start to justify their disobedience, their rebellion to this word. The Most High can tell you not to look at the beauty of a woman, not to look at and judge a man by the clothes he's got on. But you will say, oh, he got so much swagger and so much style, girl. Ooh. You say, oh, yeah, he's a good man, but he's good looking to your flesh. She's good looking to your flesh. She's not good in the terms of Elohim. She's not good in the terms of righteousness. She's not good in the terms of obedience. It says, and acceptable, and the perfect will of Elohim. Come on. This Baskin-Robbins religion has brainwashed you into thinking that this journey is about the will of Messiah. But Hamashiach said, I come to do the will of him that sent me. Mashiach sent himself? But you got folk believing that. Well, Messiah didn't say it. The book tells you he came to do the will of the one that sent me. So our minds got to be renewed so we can prove what is good, acceptable, and perfect will of Elohim. John 5, verse 46 through 47. Man, them passages like that, they man, don't none of this never get old. You just constantly you just wear it out. Let's see, John 5, 46 through 47. For had you believed Moshe, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. Whoo! You talking about people conflicted? But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Man, the book says to the law and to the testimony. Testimonies, the prophets, Hamashiach, the Torah, given to Moses at Sinai, to the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it's because there is no light in them. You got people out here that reject Moshe, conflicted with Moshe. They rather try to define sin from the Besorah, from the epistles or letters of Paul. See, right here, Paul was telling us about a new sin. But when we see Hamashiach dealing with the Pharisees, the hypocrites, who was conflicted and disagreeable, he were often referred to the law, the teachings of Moshe. Types of delusion, very similar. This word implies a strong resemblance to reality, making something appear believable or true, even if it isn't. Okay, let me show you the sleight of hand. Man, you will have these pulpit pimps that will do stuff like this. See, the Bible tells you to tithe 10% of your money. Bible don't say that. Go to the Torah, and it'll tell you what they was tithing. See, today, we're coming together because we love to get in the holiday spirit. And love to be in the holiday spirit, and just to be able to celebrate the birth of, Jesus. It's such a great thing, and we as Christians just love this time of year and festivities with the trees and the babies and the grandbabies come over. I'm telling you, they lay it on thick. And they say, today, man, we're gonna read in the book. We're gonna be in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and we're gonna read about this Christmas celebration. Where are you reading that at? But this is how they lay it on thick. And just because they holding the book, you'll be looking at them wild and wooed, and these jokers lost as can be. Sound like the truth, even if it isn't. Let's keep going. An illusion. This suggests a false perception or idea, often based on what sees or imagines. Okay, the imagery, the picture floating around this world of Christianity, of the Messiah, which we can look in the wisdom of Solomon and see, no, that's an image from a father grieving the untimely death of his son. Look at how Caesar Borgia died. Often based on what sees or imagines, okay? So when you start to look at these rosary beads, you start to look at these crosses. Now, people have made stuff so religious, and it's far from right. You walk around with cross earrings that stem from Egyptian culture. You want to look religious in America? Get you a cross. Oh, man, that's a godly brother. You right, he a godly brother, an idolatrous brother. You right, she a godly sister, an idolatrous one. Bro, I'm for real. Delusion. This refers to a firmly held belief that is false and not shared by others, often associated with mental health conditions. You experiencing this delusion? It's going to show in mental health. Man, I don't give a dang. You go get 1,000 Christian Bible teachers, and I'm going to show you that they teach in delusion. I'm going to show you flat out. They can't prove it. Book, chapter, verse, they can't Bible that thing. And here's the thing. You're not going to get, bro, they stand to lose their lost congregation. And the reason they don't want to lose their lost congregation is because they've been profiting off of them. Mental assent describes a situation where someone appears to believe something outwardly, but doesn't truly internalize it or live by it. You say, well, this is the word of Elohim. This is the word of God. The divine word. But you don't internalize it. You will use it to try to show other people what they should be doing. You be doing this and doing that, but you yourself, you ain't doing it. Think about how many Christian teachers talk about the Sabbath while never keeping it. 30, 40, 50 years of Sunday sun worship, and ain't never kept that commandment once. From childhood till death. They don't internalize it. They blinded to it. Man, the Messiah was telling when he was talking about them, why I speak to them in parables, they see but see not, they hear and hear not. He was talking to them about to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. He even had to break down to them to that parable. No, I'm not talking about the actual bread. I'm talking about their doctrine. They'll deceive you with that doctrine. When somebody hold this book up, let me show you something. When somebody holds a book up, hold the Bible up like this, and look at you and tell you something that's not in there, they're giving you the doctrine that they have been programmed with. Ain't biblical. Moral relativism, a view that holds that moral truths are not absolute and depend on specific circumstances, culture, or individual's belief, the idea of wrong or right will never be consistent. You know, man, I remember man, I'm only 35. And I remember if I did something in the neighborhood, man, it was back then, it was normal for your neighbors to call the address where you live because they often knew where the kids were. They knew, children was going to be children and get into some mischief. So they would call, my grandparents' voicemail and leave a voicemail. Hey, down there, they got that baseball bat and they done took that baseball bat to this brick mailbox. So they didn't done this and ran all through my flower bed. And my grandparents would never be offended. They did the same thing with neighbors. But now people are in so much rebellion and conflict and disagreeableness with the word. Somebody today can tell you your children did something wrong and you get mad at them rather than correcting the issue. That's wickedness, man. That's wickedness. Or I'll give you another example. You start to see the disagreeableness and conflict in people's heart. And man, they hand clapping for everybody else to get rebuked. Rebuke him. He's a hater. Rebuke him. I'm telling you, they love that. But the minute that truth get to them, and they get the rebuke, all of a sudden they want to lead a ministry. All of a sudden they done went back to old ways. All of a sudden, it was good doctrine when everybody else was getting corrected. It was good doctrine. It was the word of Elohim. But when that word got to you, you exempt from it. Man, that's showing you conflict, disagreeableness. Rebuke ain't supposed to be enjoyable. It's to painfully make your flesh go the way that the Most High Yah wants it to go. I want you to think about this. You got a lot of women who have had children out of wedlock won't never get an opportunity in marriage because they can't see the wickedness of their own children. Everybody else's children bad in the world except yours. How is a man going to come along and instill discipline where you are under the mindset that they don't need it? This is why some men walk away. Let's keep going. Separating from unbelievers. This real important right here. People don't understand why I'm perfectly fine with minding my own business, going where I need to go and coming back home. Separating from unbelievers is how you protect the fruit of the Spirit. Your peace, joy, your ability to suffer long. I want you to understand, you can't be around people that complain and murmur all the time. Why ain't this fair? Why ain't this and why that and why that? You can't be around them people. Because your long suffering, ability to suffer long is going to turn into murmuring and complaining. People that don't have joy will steal joy in their misery. They don't say misery loves company. That's the saying in the world. Misery loves company. Separating from unbelievers is protecting your ruach. Man, you get around unbelievers. The Most High Yah could have renewed your mind, gave you the ruach, the spirit of truth, the spirit that gives understanding, so you can understand at a spiritual level what it is we need to be doing on this walk. And if you hang around these unbelievers, that same unbelief they got is going to make that ruach leave your body. And you're going to start walking with them. Man, I sit out. Man, when it comes to family, I sit out these worldly holidays. People don't understand it. Every year it's the same thing. You just want to be different. Book says the people set apart people are peculiar people. Separating from unbelievers. Man, once you working out your salvation, man, you better fight like Sheol, the doggone protected. I'm telling you, you better fight like two sissies in a phone book to keep these unrighteous, lawless jokers away from you. Because if they ain't working out their salvation, what way they want you going? If they've given their life, if they didn't sold they sold to Hasatan, You don't think they're going to try to recruit you? That's why I said, man, when it comes to, man, you got to look. You got to look, man. I have no interest. I've been thinking about it. I really didn't have no, when that movie Sinners that recently came out, it's one of the movies I really didn't jump towards seeing. And you got so many Christians doing reviews on this stuff. Oh yeah, it's such a good movie. I really did. I said, man, I don't need no help sinning. Bro, historically, I did that naturally. I did that good on my own. You got to think, man, they come out, I'm gonna be honest with you. If they come out with a 50 Shades of Purple, you're gonna have these Christians running down there to see it, and they know it's filled with fornication, sexual immorality, pervertedness, idolatry. Lawless people love a good story of idolatry. They love a good story of sexual immorality. Freak off party. Let's be real. Gotta separate from these people, man. I'm telling you, when they reject the truth and they got rebellion in their heart, you gotta cut them off, man. Cut sling load. James chapter 2, verse 19. You believe that there is one Elohim, you do well. You believe that there is one Elohim, you do well. That is a true monotheistic type faith. But what is it? Is a faith monotheistic if you worshiping all these other idols in your holidays? You go look behind every one of these Christian observances, there's a deity or multiple deities behind it that's not the Most High Yah, nor has he commanded it. No, it's polytheistic. But that's the delusion of that vain religion. You do well. The devils also believe and tremble. But will you know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? Flat out. You got people in conflict and rebellion with that. All I need is faith. All I need is faith. How you going to work out your salvation if all you need is faith? What are you working out? What good is a faith that can't be exercised? 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship has righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion has light with darkness? Man, I'm telling you, man, you had to, unbelievers will be a hindrance to your walk. Your light, the commandments is a lamp, the law is a light. You walking in that truth is going to reveal the darkness that they're in. And don't think that you're going to have an abundance of people that see that light and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to follow this. No, because it's contrary to the way of the world. 2 Corinthians 6, verse 17. Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, says Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. You got folk out there telling you, according to the Bible, there is no more unclean and clean. Everything clean. We over here in 2 Corinthians is telling you, touch not the unclean thing. Come out from among them and be ye separate. See, people are conflicted. I want you to understand, man, that is an individual instruction. That's an individual instruction. You can't blame nobody else for you not doing this. You got an unbelieving spouse. You got some doggone unbelieving parents, friends, co-workers, family, relatives. Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate. People get conflicted after this instruction after a short time, because instead of maintaining their ruach and the fruits that come with that ruach, peace, they're riddled by stress, anxiety, and depression stemming from loneliness. And I tell you, man, in this last daytime and hour, man, you better get to the wilderness. Urbanization was a time in this country where everybody left the rural areas and went to these population centers, where these population centers got the most issues. Man, get to the wilderness while you can. Make an effort to head for the wood line. There's protection. You'll be able to maintain your doggone peace, your ruach. Why? Because you got cover and concealment. You got spiritual coverage from the Most High. You got physical cover and concealment from the structure, from the trees, the wood line. If you've ever seen somebody run through an open field, you can see them clear as day. You got to think, Hasatan is seeking somebody to devour. So why not go after the one that I can see clearly? Versus you make it to that wood line, oh snap. It don't take nothing but about 20, 30 feet or 20, 30 yards to get ahead, and you just blend into the wilderness. There's your protection. Get to the wilderness while you got time. Touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. So from this point right here, it does away with their whole doctrine or teachings of everything is clean now. So from this moment, you have to ask yourself, what is it that we're not supposed to be touching? That's what you got to ask yourself. What is unclean according? And they can't answer that. Let's go to 2 Timothy 3, verse 1 through 7. Know this also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, thankful, unholy. Unholy. I'm going to be honest. Your family, your friends that say that they love him, and they go into Sunday sun worship, unholy. I'm going to be honest. They love themselves. They love their will. You know, they're proud of this Sunday sun worship. Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers. I tell you, man, some of these people that will do you the worst is some of these religious people. They tell you the law was done away with. So how you going to hold them accountable and correct them when the very thing that brings correction they don't want? Despisers of those that are good. Traitors. Man, the Most High Yah said he would supply your every need. But you started selling these motivational messages, these lukewarm, ear-ticklish messages, this damnable doctrine to supply your every want instead of leaning on the Most High. Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than Elohim. Man, I saw a video recently with a homosexual pastor. That means you love a man's booty hole more than you love the will of the Most High Yah. It was a Jesse Lee Peterson interview, and he asked him, like, are you seeking deliverance from this? Pastor flat out said, no. That means it says to love the Most High Yahweh Elohim with all your heart and all your soul. But you in them freak off parties. What you think your congregation is doing? Looking at you as their shepherd. If he's doing it, I'm going to do it too. Y'all all in there squirting baby oil in there on Sunday sun worship. Lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Elohim. Having a form of holiness. Listen to this. Having a form of holiness. But denying the power thereof. From such turn away. Separating from unbelief. Got to get gone. Got to get gone. Man, I tell you, the model of, man, my understanding of what manhood was changed when I became born again and learned and started walking in the ways. All of these, let me say something to men that feel like, man, you don't get no flowers for anything you do. Man, I've had to tell so many men that are living up to worldly expectations to crack open this book and see what the expectations of the Most High Yah are. That's your whole purpose on earth. That's your whole duty. It's the whole duty of man to fear the Most High and keep the commandments. Man, I no longer have the pressures of, man, I got to be a millionaire. Man, I got to have the biggest house. Man, I got to do this and do this. Like, where is this stuff in the book? And if I'm going to go before the judgment seat of a Mashiach, I want you to think about all the works and expectations man has tried to live up according to the world, but it ain't going to do you no good at judgment. Man, if you a man feeling all this pressure, you trying to keep your wife happy. You trying to keep your mama happy. You trying to keep your daddy happy. You trying to keep your boss happy. Flip that. I ain't doing none of that except the will of the Most High Yah. Because that's the only thing that's going to get you in the kingdom. That right then and there will remove a lot of pressure, stress, and anxiety that you have as a man. All of this high value, damnable doctrine going out. They tell you high value in this world today, you gotta make over 300,000, you gotta have a 6-pack abs. It ain't got nothing never to do with salvation. So you got men out there falling to that stuff. They making it seem like you high value, you got a good jawline. Good jawline ain't gonna get you into the kingdom. You're gonna look like a straight Pee Wee Herman pervert if you get to judgment and you lift up your shirt and say, look at these abs, Hamashiach. Bro. Man, what I'm not telling you to do is not let yourself be sloppy and unfit for the kingdom. I'm not saying that, but the world's gonna give you something as a man to go after that ain't gonna lead you. It's a path to destruction. I'm telling you, you watch some of these relationship and dating coaches, they religious as all get out. But it's worthless. You got religious men that'll tell you, man, you don't need to marry none of these women. You just need to have sex with them. Get you a rotation, about 4 or 5 of them, and you good. That's what a high value man would do. That's what the kind of nonsense that's out there these days. And you've got young men following in this stuff. It's sad. From such turn away, for of this sort are they that creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins. So if you're a woman stricken with sin, you're going to get one of these boo-boo the fool, come up in there and dickmatize you. Leave you with 2, 3, 4, 5 children and not take care of. But this word will cut you. Will cut you good. Cut you good. New blood. Led away with diverse lusts. Sisters out here, I'm telling you, I don't give a damn how freaky a man is. If he ain't coming walking in the will of the Most High Yah, let me tell you what you gonna do. He gonna suck your toes and put a baby up in you and leave you. I'm for real. He gonna he just gonna keep milking the cow instead of committing to it. Man. Be honest, as men and women, for single men and single women out here that desire marriage, if you keep hanging around people like this, these very people who the Most High Yah told you to avoid is going to be the people that you're attracting. Birds of a feather flock together. That's a worldly saying. Birds of a feather flock together. So, if this is what you putting off by your being in agreement with these people and the Most High Yah told you to avoid such people, that's who you're going to be attracting. But I want you to think about this. A wicked woman is given to the portion of a wicked man. A godly woman is given to him that fears the Most High Yah. The man that fears the Most High Yah fears the judgments of the Most High Yah and says, you know what, I'm separating from these unbelievers. So now you can see, like somebody in an open field, who is for you. You can discern. They stand out. Verse 7. It says, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth. You got these people learning all of these different doctrines. And you know what they never arrive at? They never arrive at Torah. They talking deliverance, casting out. They talking demons and demonic and all of this stuff. But you know what? They ever learning and ain't never arriving at Torah, which is the reviving of their soul. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus 10:19. They that fear Yahuwah are a sure seed, and they that love him an honorable plant. They that regard not the Torah are a dishonorable seed. They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed. Man, I'm showing you. I'm going to show you the first one. I'm going to show you the first commandment that's going to be blatant. When you're coming out is the people you've been following that don't keep the commandment of keeping the Sabbath. And that one is going to reveal to you, because of your obedience, it's going to reveal to you so much more that the people around you that, oh, we love him. Oh, isn't he good? Isn't our friend, he doesn't want to judge us. You're going to start to realize the darkness that they're walking in. There's only one truth. Let's go to Psalms 119. Excuse me. 119, 142. Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your Torah or law is the truth. Everlasting righteousness, Torah is the truth. Let's go to Psalms 119, 33 through 34. Teach me, O Yahuwah, the way of your statutes, and I shall guard it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I shall guard your Torah. Yeah, I shall keep it with my whole heart. There's only one truth. Psalms 86. Verse 11. Teach me your way, O Yahuwah. I will walk in truth, in your truth. Unite my heart to fear your name. So if you ain't walking in truth, there ain't no fear of Elohim. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 6:23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is the light, and the reproof of instructions are a way of life. Man, verse 24, look at this, verse 24. To guard you from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of the strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in your heart, neither let her take you with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Men, I'm telling you, this type woman that's gonna flatter you with words, get in your ear. Don't you want me to make you feel good? I know what you like. Look, they're gonna hit you with that, and you go, woo, and that's it, man. They coming for your life. Hasatan is using them. Man, yeah. Well, see, without keeping them commandments, you have no lamp. And without walking in truth, the Torah, there ain't no light in that lamp. Imagine not having a lamp and you in darkness. You can't see. She gonna roll up on you. Let me make you feel good. That's what these ear ticklish messages, that's what they do, because you ain't walking in truth. Oh, we gonna make your flesh feel so good. And you're gonna be like, that's what I'm looking for. John chapter 8, verse 31 through 32. All right. Then said Yahushua to the Yahudim, which believed on him, if you continue in my word, then you are my Talmudim indeed. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So without the truth, without the Torah, how can you get set free? I'm telling you, I want to know. These people is deceiving people every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday, talking about we setting people free, we delivering people. How are you setting people free without the Torah? How you got the light if you reject Torah? How do you got a lamp if you don't keep the commandments? 1 John chapter 2, verse 4. He that says I know him and guards not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. This is KO punchline. Pop, 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 pop. This will lump your lip up if you moving in deceit. But these convict us to show, man, dang, bro. I remember first time I read that, I said, I ain't walking in truth. Because I didn't even know what commandments I was supposed to be keeping. But yet I was going to church every Sunday. I had no idea what commandments I was supposed to be keeping. You know why? They didn't teach keeping the commandments. They don't teach it. Man, they'll dance, jump around it, go all up and through, behind it, but they ain't teaching that. I said, man, I thought because I was in here jumping around, clapping, crying, I thought I knew him. Nope, didn't know him. Didn't know him. Because I wasn't guarding the commandments. You have to know what the commandments are and able to be able to guard them. Faith come by hearing the word. The problem is you're not hearing in a lot of these places the words of Elohim. You're hearing the words of man that has been conflicted or in disagreement to the word. You leave out of these places and you be like, man, that was a good word. Somebody asked you in the middle of the week, man, what was the message? You can't remember. Why? Because it didn't take root. It wasn't truth. It fell on your hard heart. The Ruach of truth. Let's go to John 16, verse 13. Howbeit when the Ruach emeth, or the Ruach of truth, is come, he will guide you in all truth, for he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. Man, there's only one Ruach of truth. All these other Ruachs are Ruachs, spirits of deceit. Spirits that if you take hold of it in your mind and heart, it's going to manipulate and deceive you. John chapter 4, verse 24. Elohim is that Ruach, and and they that worship him must worship him in Ruach and in truth. So you got to worship him in the spirit that gives understanding and in truth. Truth, Torah, the law. You can't be conflicted towards the Torah and think that you're going to be able to worship him in spirit. They that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 3, verse 5 through 6. Trust in El Yahweh with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. The reason your path is not being directed because you're leaning on your own understanding. What would cause somebody to do that claims to love him? You love the ways of the world. You're selfish. You're conflicted with what this word is telling. See, the Most High, y'all, man, these commandments shouldn't be like hurdles that you think you can't get over. See, some people look at the hurdles of life. They look at these commandments as hurdles. Big hurdles that they can't jump. They can't get over. But if you're running towards this hurdle, the commandment with obedience, you're going to get over it. But, man, you miss every shot you don't take. Let me say that again. You miss every shot you don't take. So, man, we should be running towards keeping these commandments like hurdles we know we can get over. Why? Because we've got a spirit that's going to guide us. We have the ability through the Ruach to navigate this flesh to keeping these commandments. Lean not on your own understanding. Because what happens is when you're not out there running your race, striving for mastery, and the book says one can only do it if he does it lawfully, what happens? You go sit your sorry butt in the bleachers and just start watching. You're no longer working out your salvation. Let's talk about marriage, because this one is what jacks a lot of people up. You know, there is no, okay, statistically, marriage between, or the union between a man and woman is still the best way to go. Statistically. Okay? You look at lesbian women that are married, go down to the same state or the same courthouse that said you need a license between a man and a woman. They gave them a license too. Book says abomination. People don't understand why I tell men and women to avoid the state. Avoid that state issued marriage license. Men specifically. You know, and women, I want to ask you that question. Are you relying on the state to provide for your need, or you leaning on the Most High Yahweh? Man, when it comes down to this, two lesbians married together, statistically, they've got the highest failure rate. You can go look that up. Homosexual men that are married, they're falling right behind, right, you know, they're barely just ahead of lesbian marriage. And then you've got marriage between a man and a woman, the union, the covenant between a man and a woman in the Most High. That's still the best way to go. Still the best way to go. And guess what? It's righteous. Man, you got some people that are conflicted towards marriage. And if you're not living like Shaul, you're going to be living in sin, because you're trying to get them needs met, trying to get that cat scratched, you know, trying to get that stick wet. You're going to be living in sin. You know, man, something I'm talking about is real. Man, we look at Ecclesiastes 25 verse 1. Let me show you this. Let me show you this right here. You're gonna understand how important agreeableness is, rather than being conflicted. Ecclesiastes 25:1. In three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before Elohim and men. The unity of the brethren. I want you to understand, man, this you truly need to gain an understanding of what a brother is. Truly got to gain an understanding to be able to understand that, because if not, you're going to be casting, pearls before swine. The unity of the brethren, the love of neighbors. Okay, that's right in line with what Hamashiach said. Love your neighbor. That's right in line. And a man and woman that agree together. A man and a woman that agree together. Man, if you look at the reasons for divorce in Western culture, it's going to come down to this message right here. You've either got one person in the marriage that's not agreeable, that's conflicted against this word, or you've got two people. It comes down to, there ain't no other way. Because if y'all is in agreement, y'all winning. Y'all winning. Man, okay, let me put it like this. When you're in agreement with the will of the Most High Yah, and you're married, you're winning. Now, there's people out there that are in disagreement with the word of the Most High Yah and look like they're winning. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. Unless somebody start walking in the ways. Because I'm going to be honest, man, when you're in disagreement with the will of the Most High Yah, when you are disagreeable and conflicted with this word, you don't even have the grace, the patience, the long suffering. You have no peace. You're putting the burden of having peace on somebody else when you don't even have it yourself. You ain't gonna survive. You look at celebrity couples. People be like relationship goals. I want to be like Tiana Taylor and Amari Shumpert, whatever his name is. Just give it some time. It all fall through. People, I want to be like Cardi B and Offset. Just give it some time. It's all gonna fall through. I'm telling you. Because these are people in their own life that's disagreeable, conflicted to this word. Beyonce and Jay, people be like, that's relationship goals, man. That's working. That woman said, man, I'm going to take the pages of the holy book and I'm going to stuff them up my vagina. With my menstrual, I'm going to bleed on them. Just give it some time. Just give it some time. This thing is talking about a man and a woman that agree together. Now let's go to 1 Corinthians. This is 1 Corinthians 7:14. For the unbelieving man is sanctified by the woman, and the unbelieving woman is sanctified by the man. Elsewhere your children are unclean, but now they are holy. Men, if you've got the spirit of long suffering, you wouldn't give up so fast on your unbelieving wife. You know, women out here, for your husband that's unbelieving, at one point in time, y'all was equally yoked, but y'all was equally yoked in lawlessness. Y'all was equally yoked in lawlessness. I would encourage you as a woman to not get with these unbelieving men if you are a believer yourself as a woman. Don't be that desperate. Because as much as you think you can fix you ain't going to be able to fix him. You ain't going to be able to fix him, and vice versa. Men, if you claim to be a believer, walking in truth, quit getting with these unbelieving women, hitching yourself, thinking that you're going to be able to turn Jezebel or Delilah into Ruth. Quit thinking you're going to be able to turn Rahab into Ruth or Sarah. Somebody in the marriage has to be sanctified to be able to understand these things. Woman, if you're dealing with an unbelieving husband, man, it's your conversation and your conduct that should be able to guide him towards the truth. Not you controlling him and telling him what to do. Well, I'm going to just take lead because he don't believe I'm taking lead. No. 1 Peter 3:7. Likewise, you men dwell with them according to knowledge. Okay, in the book of Ecclesiastes, it says, fathers, marry your daughters, give them to a man of understanding, and you have performed a weightier matter. Likewise, men dwell with them according to knowledge. Okay, giving honor unto the woman as the weaker vessel, as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers may not be hindered. Men, if you get with a woman and you a believer and you get with an unbelieving woman, man, your prayers gonna be hindered. She's gonna be working against it. Man, I tell you, a lot of men are struggling in marriage because they don't have knowledge. They don't have knowledge of this stuff. How you gonna survive in marriage and you ain't got the fruit of the spirit? Y'all gonna be up in there fighting like cats and dogs. How you gonna love your woman like Hamashiach loved the church? How you gonna wash your woman with the word when you as a man, I'm good on all that God stuff. I'm good on all that. All I need is my ESPN and this Call of Duty and this Pizza Hut. How you gonna wash her so she see a man having knowledge and understanding of how he's supposed to be walking is capable of leading a woman righteously. How you gonna wash her with a dirty rag when you called to wash her so she is found without spot or blemish and you don't know the word? You don't even know your duty description as a man. This is why you got men out here saying, I'm telling you, a Yah-fearing woman ain't going for no 50-50 type marriage. Well, you got men out here saying, well, let's go 50-50. A Yah-fearing woman ain't going for that because let me tell you why. First and foremost, when the Most High Yah gives an instruction to a man, you ain't finna pawn that off, 50% of that off on the woman. And vice versa. Women, no, you shouldn't be putting your response. Well, I'm going to just take half of Proverbs 31 and I'm going to give it to the man because that's the agreement that we came up. Well, you in disagreement with the will of the Most High Yah. You're conflicted with this word. Don't expect for that union to be blessed. You got women that raise their hand. Oh, I'm a Proverbs 31. And you want to pawn off 50% of your doggone responsibility. And guess how that's going to sound at judgment. You're going to be derelict in your duties. Man, I only want the responsibilities and the duties that the Most High Yah outlined for a man. I want nothing thereof to do with what is instructed for a woman to do. That's her burden to carry. That is her charge. Man, you got people that are not in covenant with the Most High Yah in these relationships. And they're coming up with their own agreements and failing miserably. Failing miserably. Let's keep going. 1 Timothy 2:14. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. So I read to you about the weaker vessel. The woman is gonna probably get attacked first. That's why you got so many verses in here in this book. So many telling a man what kind of woman to watch out for. Why? This is a patriarchal book. No matter how much you're conflicted with that patriarchal concept, it's outlined all through the book. You're not going to be, if you're conflicted and you're looking for a matriarchal, gynocratic, feminist message, man, you're going to fail miserably in your walk. You're going to fail miserably. Genesis, let's go to Hebrews 13:17. We'll come back to that one. Hebrews 13:17. Obey them that have rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they which watch over your souls, as they that must give an account, they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. Okay? So this is telling you, man, it's to your benefit that you obey them that have rule over you. Wives, your husbands got to give an account for the way that you conduct yourself. That's called being accountable as the head, accountable as the leader. Your salvation depends on your obedience to your husband. I want you to think about that. Let that settle in. But let's go to Genesis 3, verse 16. Because this is the stuff that would help a lot of sisters out in marriage if they just was in agreement with it, rather than conflicted with it. The words ain't gonna change. The instructions ain't gonna change. This is to your benefit. This is what makes you cooperative. Genesis 3, verse 16. Unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and conception. Okay. Modern women are looking for conception to be easy. And I will tell you, the process of birthing a child would not be as painful for you as a woman if you weren't in rebellion to your husband and the will of the Most High Yah. You have to understand why he said this. She was in rebellion to the one that the Most High Yah put over her, and she disobeyed the instructions of the Most High. So childbirth is going to be painful. You want a pleasant childbirth? Obey your husband. Fear the Most High Yah. Keep his commandments. Is your man follows or does not follow Messiah? That's your responsibility. A lot of women experience pain in pregnancy because they justify them not taming the tongue on their hormones. Man, that leads to miscarriage, stillborn. You carrying a baby You carrying a man's seed and you gonna rebel against him? Oh yeah, child not coming forth. Man, this stuff is tied so deep. Tied so deep. You didn't giving yourself so much stress out of the rebellion to the Most High Yah and the instruction of your husband that stressful environment is not good for that baby. Let's keep going. Unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow you shall bring forth children. And your desire shall be to your man, and he shall rule over you. That right there would woo, woo. See, I want you to understand, a lot of women that struggle in marriage, they end up getting all the blame, no matter how much you try to blame on the man. Because the man gave you an instruction, and it's to your benefit to obey it, to submit to it, to follow that instruction. The Most High Yah would have it that the daughters are blameless. You can't be blameless receiving an instruction and going to do your own thing. You got to look, man. Eve was recorded as the one that was deceived and became the transgressor first. Eve did her own thing. Eve was in a whole union. Eve was in a whole covenant trying to be independent. I'm going to do my independent own thing. And it backfired. She gave that same fruit to her husband. She was deceived and deceived her husband. It's doggone shame. So you can't be conflicted as a woman with this right here. Man, that's a good thing. Man, I'm telling you, like as a woman, when you are in complete submission to your head, man, you're going to receive compliments because I'm telling you, but also you're going to receive a lot of persecution. You're going to receive a lot of persecution because from women that don't want to do it. You got these Jezebel, Delilahs, and harlots out here that would show hatred and persecute Sarah. Sarah honored Abraham by calling him master. You call your husband every other name of the book. She called him master. And the other women see how you walking and carrying that light, that torch. As you walk in truth, and you know what? They hate it because they realize they're in darkness. They see how blessed you are. They looking at blessings as material things, but the way you moving is just dripping. It's just dripping anointing all over the place. Let's go to Ephesians 5, verse 22 through 29. And we're going to go ahead and bring this thing to a halt. Women, submit yourselves unto your own men as unto Yahuwah. For the man is head of the woman, even as Mashiach is head of the called out assembly, and he is the savior of the body. Mashiach is the savior of the called out assembly, the congregation. The husband is the savior of the body. Why do I say that? Because if you out doing everything that you want to do as a woman, you're going to be out fornicating. You're going to be out living sexually immoral. And the husband gives you protection from that. The craziest work is for a rebellious woman that's conflicted against this word to starve her husband out from sex, but go commit adultery and give what you were supposed to be giving to your head to a man that really don't care nothing about you. You would go give what's meant for your husband to a man that gave you a compliment. Well, I just feel like my husband don't compliment me. You've been provided for, you've been protected and covered. And as a woman being the weaker vessel, you got to be cautious, man, to not be conflicted against your head, not be conflicted against the will of the Most High Yah, because you're going to damn your soul. And you got testimonies of women that have done this stuff, and they wondering why life is hard now. You know, let me break this down. Man, men, just because you have rule over your woman, over your wife, over your Ashaya, does not mean that you shouldn't consult her. Man, you should consult her. Women, you need to embrace the value of righteously having your man's ear. And when you come to him, and he is asking you for what you think, don't take that as an opportunity to try to control, to try to deceive, to try to manipulate. Man, he has to think about what's best for the family. And in your natural spirit as a woman, you will use that as an opportunity to try to gain some power, to try to selfishly get what you want. And that may not be where the family needs to go. So when a man consults his wife, which is a good thing, understand as a woman, just because he consulted with you doesn't mean that he has to be in agreement with that consultation. See, the Most High Yah hates a false balance. But the Most High Yah gave us the structure and how he wanted a marriage to operate. You know, there's times as a man, I can be driving in a daze. And my wife can flat out say, we going the wrong way. I don't get mad and upset, we about to miss the turn. You going too fast, you gonna miss the turn. I don't get mad and upset. I appreciate that. That's a blessing. High as this gas is, that's a blessing. Men, you have to understand the fullness of this word and be walking in ways so you can understand, okay, sometimes you got to be able to discern. I mean, I consulted with my wife, but that ain't lining up with what's in the book. That ain't lining up what's in the book where the Most High Yah wants this family to go. Men, your biggest mistake is putting the decision on the woman. Because guess what? Oftentimes, if you make her make that decision, as much as she want to make that decision, if it go wrong, she don't want the blame for it. She would rather be blameless. Because if you put all the decision making on her for things that you're supposed to be doing, as a man, you still gonna get blamed for it. But consulting with your wife is a good thing. You gotta understand, man. A woman can say some stuff that will, if she's in her right frame of mind, she'll be like, Even though the logic of a man, when searching for a place for your family, you might be looking at, this is the place we can afford. But they got crackheads in the house next to you. Your children ain't gonna be able to survive there. She might say something to you, well, what if we cut back in other areas so we can get somewhere in the wilderness and not have to worry about it? Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's some good consultation. You shouldn't be approaching this thing like you got in the wisdom of Solomon, man, you have it talks about wicked rulers. You don't want to be a wicked ruler taking advantage of people. You got your family living in this doggone around these heathens so you can keep your NFL Sunday ticket. And she done told you, that these people around here is crazy. Oh yeah, these crackheads. You see these needles out here. You telling your children to just play around them. Come on. Man, this message right here, when you're walking in truth, you got a spouse that's walking in truth and one that's not. You got one that's walking in truth saying we need to keep the feast days, other one saying we need to keep the holiday. This message right here is going to let you know. See, you ain't really conflicted towards your spouse. You really conflicted towards the Most High Yah. That's what it come down to. Even finances. You got a husband can say, hey, stop spending so much money buying on Amazon stuff that you want. Let's focus on the stuff that we need. You in your mind, your feelings will warp it as a woman to, well, now we need all of this stuff that you want. That's a selfish intent. And you will go down there and file that paperwork. These worldly heathens will clap you on. Yeah, leave them, girl. Come on out here where we are lonely. Leave them. And all that man told you to do was really, you need to be more prudent. You need to think about the future. You constantly saying, well, he's a dusty. I don't know how I married such a dusty. This joker dusty. You made song. You on TikTok. Dusty man. Dusty husband. I'm telling you. He ain't got no money. He might not have no money because the extra money that he did have that could put away to get the family further While he at work, you got the Amazon, you got the FedEx, you got the UPS, you got the USPS man coming dropping these packages off. You trapping out the bando. I'm for real. No matter how you cut it, man, when you look at the reasons for divorce, you know, infidelity, cheating, you know, I want you to understand, man, a lot of men and women are truly not ready to have that biblical conversation surrounding polygyny. They're not. So what do you have? You have men that have the spirit of Jezebel that will in deceit step outside and potentially, okay, if a married man lays down with a married woman, that's a biblical case of adultery. Why? Adultery is defined off of the status of the woman. Is she available to be taken or is she not? That's adultery, okay? Man, you have men that want something on the side when this book, you got concubines. Now, you don't want to be like King Solomon. Solomon went after the wrong women. But then you've got women of the book, you know, that had issues with bearing children for whatever reason. And they were so righteous enough, they went out and find a woman that was available to be taken, brought that woman to her man, and man go and plant seed in her. And then later on, the woman who did that womb was unlocked. Come on. Most people ain't ready to have these in-depth conversations. You got to think, man, you will have a man that gets tricked into marrying a woman who knows she already has problems having children. Don't want to follow and obey the commandments, but because of that state-issued marriage license, try to forcefully keep him in. There's a way, there's a couple ways out of that in the book. There's a couple ways out of it. He doesn't have to stay with you. He could take another wife. But these same homosexuals, Roman Greco homosexuals that promoted that stuff, and that monogamy only doctrine, this ain't people was virgins and then got with one person and stayed with them the rest of their life. No, these doggone Romans and heathens were serial fornicators, serial being sexually immoral. And what difference does it make if you, I'm be honest with you, what difference does it make if your body count is high as crack and you got a man that's maintained not only his virtue, select a woman that has chosen her virtue, and the book says, man, I would have given you more. The Most High Yah says he was a husband until two. A lot of these issues, man, can be resolved if people wasn't conflicted with the book. Man, you know, there's studies out there that show you that a woman was designed to only receive DNA from one man. Every man, women out here, every man that because you like it raw and you're in fornication, man, that DNA can be found in you. That semen, that DNA from semen, even if you're not even impregnated, can still be found in you. It's absorbed into your uterine walls, can be found up to 10, 15 years later. That's real. That's heavy. These are these soul ties. So, man, you know, there's a lot of stuff, and full range of it. Now, what I talked about in this message is not for the average man. If you already not walking in truth, you know, and ultimately the world thinks about polygyny. That's not polygamy. There's a difference. It's not polyandry. The world looks at this as, a man just want to have sex with all these women. But righteously, it's about one man being able to cover more than one woman righteously. You got to think about it, man. What if a woman's father has died, you know, and this woman is out here unmarried? She's uncovered. What if this man comes along and says, man, you know what? I want to cover you. I want to give you your own place. I want to make sure you're provided for and spiritually led. And free from, because the woman's going to have desires. But very sexually immoral, fornicating people, a woman will say, Well, I'm going to catch all kind of STDs when you've been out here living sexually immoral and in fornication, breaking wedlock. Now you want to think about nastiness? See, sex is not nasty when it's done righteously. Sex ain't wicked, but when it's done unlawfully, oh yeah, it's nasty. And this is why you get so many vile bodily issues. You wondering why? I'm gonna be honest with you. You wondering why your pH is off. You wondering why all of this. You dealing with dirty dicks and you dirty. Living in sexual immorality and fornication. I call it like it is, man. I call it like it is. But this stuff will reveal the conflict in your heart. It will reveal the conflict in your heart. The disagreement towards the Most High Yah. There ain't nothing we can do. There ain't nothing we can do about, okay, the new covenant being about or only being towards Israel and Judah. Okay, when we look at the Most High Yah, who did the Most High divorce himself from? That he was a husband unto them. Them is not singular. Them is more than one. Israel and Judah. Why? Adultery. Idolatry. You were supposed to belong to the Most High Yah, but you gave yourself to these other deities, these other gods. Man, I don't care how you cut it, how you slice it, how you dice it, how you chop it. Man, when we come to this word, 9 times out of 10, your flesh ain't gonna like it, especially if it's gonna cause you a big change of thinking. To turn from your former way of ignorance, if it's gonna cause you to do that, oftentimes that's where our flesh at. Hold up. And as religious as this country is, it's far from righteous. Far from walking in truth. There's not gonna be many that walk in truth. The gate is narrow for those that's walking in truth, but the one that leads to destruction, people going in there by the hundreds of thousands every day. Every day. Tomorrow is one of them days. Book says a remnant shall be saved. Man, you better prepare your heart to be in agreement with this word rather than being disagreeable, rather than being conflicted. Study. Reading ain't study. Get behind these words. Using etymology. Looking at historically truthful sources. Every source document is not a document of truth. Look at what the world is telling you and line it up against the book and you're going to see the difference. I'm telling you right now, man, if you're conflicted towards the word of the Most High Yah, man, you are going to have problems at Judgment Day. Because you rather work in lawlessness, you rather live in iniquity. And for that, man, Hamashiach is going to tell you to part ways. Glory to the King. The King is coming. Turn from your sins. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Closer to Yah Ministries. Kicking it gun barrel straight.